Thank you very much for the intro and welcome everyone. You've made it. It's the last session of Digital Velocity. So first off, thank you for being here for the last few days. I hope it's been a fun-filled and educational show for you. Today's session, it's the end of the show, so it's going to be lighthearted. It's going to be informative for sure. But I've asked my friend Derek Zoolander to join me on the journey of officially killing off the notion of being anonymous for marketers. So please join me. First thing first, let's go ahead and define anonymous. And this, of course, is our friend Derek asking himself, who am I? So as digital marketers, when someone visits or engages our brand, we don't really know who they are per se, right? So most marketing tools don't have an understanding of who somebody is until they tell us who they are. They raise their hand and say, my name is so and such, here's my email address, engage me. And traditional marketing begins at that moment. And so when we think about the definition of anonymous, it's defined as having unknown origin. I'm not named or identified, and I don't really have an ability for you to recognize me in the day-to-day world. Right? So that's the way that today most marketing tools and most marketers think of anonymous visitors. And when you think about the great amount of people that engage your brand, well over 97, 98% of those people are and will probably remain indefinitely anonymous, unless you have some unbelievable conversion rate, in which case, let's talk after the session. But this is the way the world works. Lots of people come to your website, very few convert, very few ever hold up their hand and say, here's my information, please tell me more. And that's a huge opportunity for us as marketers, this great unknown part of the funnel. Think about all the money that we spend trying to fill the funnel, the top of funnel spend, right? All of that programmatic ad spend and all the work that we put into creative campaigns and driving people to our website. For the most part, we ignore most of those individuals. This results in really, really clumsy marketing, right? Because consumers are extremely distracted. They're here today, gone tomorrow. They've got lots of options. There's options all over the place. You've got companies like Amazon and Target and Walmart that have completely disrupted almost every market out there from an online perspective, and we've got a very short attention span for our average customer. So we need to get them the right message at the right time. We look at this as business as usual. Visitor visits your site and they're anonymous, right? We don't have much information at all about them. There's these great tools out there called DMPs, who have come out and tried to help us out. They've said, hey, you know what? We've got some third-party data that we're going to help you with. We think we've seen this person before, and based on that, you can maybe retarget that user with a display ad. That's pretty much what the world looks like when it comes to the traditional way that people are doing digital marketing. So, user begins that journey, and up until the point where they convert or raise their hand and say, here's who I am, for the most part, they're anonymous, and we can't do very much with them from a marketing perspective. It's a huge opportunity lost for us as digital marketers. But hey, once they raise their hand, we know exactly who they are, we know exactly how to engage them, and that's a really good thing. The big problem is that most digital marketing channels, the ones that you guys know and love and want to use to engage your customer, can't do it with an anonymous profile. Third-party data doesn't work with these systems. Unless these systems recognize this person, they can't show them or do anything with them from a personalization perspective. And when we talk about personalization, we're talking about cross-channel engagement, understanding who somebody is, and treating them as such across all marketing channels. So the way that it's been done traditionally with third-party data at the top end of this funnel, none of these marketing channels are activated other than clumsy retargeting. Hey, I see that you abandoned a product in the cart. Let me show you that product, right? And we're chasing people around the internet, showing them, did you forget? Did you forget? Did you forget? I didn't forget. I see it. It's great. So this is what the world looks like. But anonymous doesn't have to mean data poor. And this is all thanks to first-party data. There's two different types of data in our world. There's transactional and there's behavioral. Transactional data happens when someone raises their hand and says, here's some data about me. I'm giving you my data. Behavioral data gets created at the point of curation when it's actually occurring. What am I looking at? How am I engaging your brand? Where did I come from? How long have I been here? How many times do I keep coming back? You don't know my name. You don't know my email address, but you're building up insights about who I am as a potential customer. And boy, there's a lot you can tell about your prospect pipeline based on that data. But third-party data doesn't help us here. It's all about first-party data. It's all about behavioral data, collecting this beautiful tail of data up into the point where someone either decides never to talk to us again or convert. All of this data used to be impossible to gather because systems weren't built to do this chore. But if we can gather this behavioral data and build up this visitor profile, there's a heck of a lot we can do with that data. I like to call this rich unknown profiles, right? So this anonymous person, all of a sudden, I've got more insight into this user and what they think about my brand, how they want to engage with my brand, and what their intent is than ever before. First-party data enables us to create a first-party behavioral profile that is incredibly powerful. Now, the neat thing about first-party data is that all those marketing channels that we know and love can use that data. Third-party data, no worky here. But you use first-party data, all these different marketing systems can use that data. They say, hey, listen, if you tell me, here's this person, and based on these behaviors that they've portrayed, show them this experience, or engage them this way, or shoot them this message. All these different marketing channels can do that. But there's one last thing that we need to unveil before we can do that. And that's this notion of the web of complexity. So every marketing tool you use has a primary key, a way that they identify a person. That's a big problem. Each of you are using 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 different marketing systems. Every system has its own unique way of identifying that user. And unless you've got the key that unlocks that identification capability, you're in big trouble. So now we've got first-party data, but we don't have the keys that unlock the marketing channels. So we've got one half of the equation, but not the other. And without that other part of the equation, we're right where we started. So how do we solve for that? Telium provides something called the Deterministic Keyring, trademark. So, and it's a new concept. It's a patented concept, but it's a really smart concept, and this is how it goes. Every time someone comes to your website, all those vendor tags that you have, they're all dropping first-party cookies because third-party cookies are pretty much dead. You can't use them anymore. And that first-party cookie contains the key. That's the key. Why? Because they want to be able to identify you again. So the key is in the page of the website, right? So there are all the keys laying there. Now, I think pretty much all of you are Telium IQ customers. And isn't it the case that Telium IQ can absolutely access your first-party cookies and bring them into your data layer? Well, that's cool, but they're not necessarily on the keyring yet. They're just in the data layer. The customer data platform, Audience Stream in this case, other systems may be able to do this as well, can start collecting all those keys and building a keyring with all of the keys that are going to be able to unlock those marketing engines. Because once I have that key, I can then communicate with any of your marketing partners and say, hey, I've got this key. You know who this user is. Let's do a swap. And from this point forward, when I tell you that this customer needs to be engaged, the key is going to fit the lock, and I'm going to be able to engage that customer anonymously, right, as if I know exactly who they are. That's a really novel concept, and it's something that we knew we'd bring to market and bring to bear because third-party data, from our humble opinion, is something that will be gone soon, right? It's eroding quickly, the impact of third-party data. In fact, Facebook, Google, Yahoo, they're moving away from third-party data identification. They've all claimed and stated in the market, we are moving to a single unique identifier for our ad network, period. You don't have that in the future, you're gone. Telium's actually built those integrations. They're not third-party identification, it's first-party identification. It's the keys. This is the way of the future. So now we've got behavioral data about this customer, prospect. They're doing all sorts of stuff with our brand. Our email system is blind, doesn't know what's going on. Our CRM system's blind, doesn't know what's going on. But wow, all this other data about our customers being unveiled to us. And we can use that by collecting and enriching that data, having the keys in the keyring, and unlocking that marketing capability. We can unleash the power of marketing. Derek has been identified. He used to be anonymous. He used to have a sweater over his vest, over his face. Now we know exactly who he is. And this unlocks all of our marketing channels. I can do anything I want to do except for two things. I can't send Derek an email yet, and I can't give him a call. Those are the only two things I can't do. Because I got the keyring and I've got the behavioral data, I can engage Derek as if I've known him all along. And that's a powerful concept. Think about your marketing stack and your marketing strategy. That entire tail of data that we, for the most part, have ignored as marketers, all of a sudden can be used to engage a customer across all marketing systems. Very powerful concept. And this leads to the beauty of omni-channel marketing. True omni-channel marketing, meaning the moment we meet a person, we act as if we've known them all along. We're building up behavioral insights. We're learning about them. We're engaging them. Hey, that's great. Once they become known and they raise their hand and they buy something or they send in a form or whatever it might be, we're going to take all of that behavioral data and we're going to bring it along with us into those marketing systems. Right? Your email system is blind until someone gives you an email address. Blind. But if you've got a first-party profile and then you get the email address, let's bring all that data in. Because we know a whole lot about that person. We know one more thing about them now, their email address. Good for us. But what if that first email that you send them is incredibly personalized based on all that behavior that you've been capturing since the moment you met? And what if your CRM system has all that data as well, and someone raises their hand and a salesperson calls that person and says, thanks for submitting the lead. Oh, by the way, I know everything you've been looking at. I know what you're interested in. I understand how long you've been shopping with us, looking at our products. What a meaningful conversation that is versus a cold conversation. By the way, that's what our sales reps do, so that's why you guys are all here. It works, right? They've got all the data about you, and then you submit a lead, and we call you up, and we try to sell you some software. But we know an awful lot about you because we've been gathering all that behavioral data before the lead is submitted on our website. So we've got 4 steps to this nirvana that I'm talking about. And the first is this notion of data collection, the extensibility of our footprint of getting data into the system. First thing we do is build something called the data layer. You've all built your data layer already. Congratulations. We also have a collection library. We've talked about it. Mike talked about it a little bit in his keynote. It's a configurable library that allows us to collect this same type of data in mobile devices, native, in connected devices, kiosks, set-top boxes, doesn't really matter, and even to bring in omni-channel data from offline sources and off-site sources into the system. First things first, you got to create your collection footprint. That's step 1 with Telium. Step 2 is being able to collect that data in real time. So throw away the notion of batch processes. This is another place where most marketing systems fall down. They might be able to collect some data in real time, but they can't enrich it and turn it into something meaningful or action-based in real time. They collect the data, it goes someplace, they process it, and what comes out the other end a day or 2 or 3 later is the campaign, right? The campaign is, we like to say the segment is dead. I'm a real human being, I'm portraying behaviors, I qualify for something right now in the moment, trigger the marketing engine that gets me to convert. You know exactly what I'm doing. The technology is here, it's available. So we can now engage that user right now with that real-time data and insight. So we've got our collection footprint, good for us. We're now in real time collecting all that data, we're stitching it together, we're enriching it. We've got our keyring, I've got the data, I got my keyring, I'm unlocking all of the marketing channels, so now I can use that data. The last piece is having the integrations that allow you to use your keyring and your data kit to get out there. And lucky for you guys, we've got 1,000 plus of them. That's good news. So whatever tools you want to bring to the party, that's fine with us. Use them, use the keyring, use the data, engage your customers. That's a great scene in Zoolander, by the way, I have to say. So this is our utopian state now. From the top of the funnel all the way through the customer journey, we know exactly who our customer is. Might not know their name, might not have their email address, but I know you. I know what you're interested in. Behavior means everything. And data is the currency of the future, and brand experience is what people are going to buy in the future. I believe substandard products will be sold by brilliant brand experiences in the future. And by maximizing the amount of data that you have about your customer and empowering it through your marketing systems, you'll provide brilliant experiences to your customers, you'll drive your conversion rate through the roof, and you'll have better brand experiences with your customers. And that's loyalty all the way. And it never stops, by the way. This whole notion of first-party data, it helps us solve and destroy anonymous, but it keeps on going forever. It just keeps on building. So you're setting up a foundation not just to solve your top of funnel problems, but also your long-term customer engagement problems. It's win-win all the way with this type of approach, this unique approach that Keyring brings to the table. So now we have a modern approach. This modern approach throws out the anonymous Zoolander, and now we know exactly who he is from the beginning of the journey. We unlock all of our marketing channels other than email and CRM, and we are doing a heck of a lot better of a job engaging that customer with the data that they're sharing with us based on their behaviors and doing a great job. Right? It's like going into a store in the mall. They don't ignore you until you come to the register and buy something. They're in there talking to you and giving you advice and engaging with you, etc. Getting to know you. Same exact process, but it's totally available now thanks to the deterministic keyring and first-party data. So let's together as a group redefine anonymous. From my perspective, anonymous is now only data associated with behavior. I don't have transactional data, but I have behavioral data. Check. It's actionable across most marketing channels. Deterministic keyring, check, you've got it. And once we get to know exactly who that person is, meaning they raise their hand, here I am, I bought something, talk to me. We take all that data we've learned about them and we continue that into those other marketing systems to have that rich profile primed and ready for use. First email that goes out the door, super relevant. First phone call, excellent conversation. Right? We're priming our marketing systems and our sales systems with the right data based on this unique approach. Now, I'm probably not the first person or vendor to talk about this, but not all vendors are created equal. Keyring was built from the ground up to solve these problems. We're not an email vendor. We're not a DMP. We don't have third-party data. We don't do retargeting. We don't do A/B testing. We do data. This is why this system works. We're agnostic. We don't care who you work with. Bring whatever vendors you want to the party. Feel free. Feels weird to say we don't care who you work with, but we really don't care. They're all great in their own way. Some not so much, but mostly. So every vendor is going to talk to you about, oh, we solved this problem or that problem, or hey, if you buy all our tools, they'll communicate with each other. It's all faulted because none of those tools were built to solve this unique problem. They're all standalone tools, and they're all collecting data for use case-driven means. We're not. We're an agnostic data platform. Collect all the data, centralize all the data, enrich all the data, plug the marketing systems in with the keyring, you're off and running. It's a brand new day for us by doing this. It's really powerful stuff. And if the vendors do tell you that, wow, there's this utopian state available, challenge them to a data off. Say, you know what, prove it, show me it working. I want to see it working. We can solve really big problems together by taking this approach of leveraging first-party data, applying a deterministic keyring, and unlocking all of our marketing channels for engagement from day one. And it's that damn first-party data. It's so hot right now. It's what everybody's talking about. This first-party data thing is huge. You're working with a partner that focuses solely on it, so let us know how we can help. And that's it for me. Guys, thank you so much for joining us at Digital Velocity. We really, really appreciate it. Hope you had a great experience. Thanks very much.